thank you so much for coming out tonight. I am so proud of Front Royal, Virginia. So we have, we're about to get this show on the road. There's some refreshments outside that you'll be able to grab on your way out so we can have some fellowship afterward. But we'll get this show on the road. We've got some great speakers tonight. And this first speaker is no stranger to speaking truth to power, and I know it all too well. It's my daughter, Cameron Hubbard.
Hello, everybody. As you know, my name is Cammy Hubbard, and I also just wanted to thank each and every one of you guys for coming out and supporting tonight. This is amazing. By you guys being here today, we are all making way for a voice for those who were never given a chance. We are here today to make a statement that says, no more racism, no more police brutality, and no more Injustice Act. We are here today to say no to being afraid to step outside of our homes based off the color of our skin or our culture. We are here to say no to another Black life lost to our corrupt systems. We are here to say no. We are no longer slaves to our government. We will make a stand, and we will let them know that we now decide how this will play out, and we are done putting up with it. I'm here today to tell my generation that our voice matters, and change continues with us. We are America's future, and we decide that enough is enough, and we will unite and conquer the burdens that our ancestors failed to succeed in. This is our time to prove that history will never repeat itself again. And this is the start of our town's upbringing and our contribute to America's revolution. Thank you.
That's going to speak has just been so impressive to me. I've known her for a short time. She started the I Can't Breathe movement that ended up merging with ours, and I'm just so very impressed with her. Corey, come on up.
How's everybody doing? The words "I can't breathe" have been the chilling last words of too many. Eric Gardner, George Floyd weren't the only unarmed civilians who were violently smothered by the hands sworn in to protect us.
Samson Del Breon Johnson.
We live in fear of the police, the ones who we call when we're in trouble. I shouldn't have to worry about dying if I'm ever pulled over. We shouldn't have to worry about our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our friends, our cousins to be the next victim of police brutality and injustice. We need to realize that Black lives are unfortunately treated as expendable by the police and the government that employs them. Good cops, I know you're out there, I met you. We need you more now than ever. Expose the bad cops. Expose the bad cops and help revolutionize the America we all deserve. We are a family. No matter what, we all have to start showing up for each other and act like it. When love seemed most impossible, that's when we need it most. Please remember to vote. Thank you so much.
Corey. So our next speaker is my pastor. He is the pastor of Grace and Mercy Ministries in Stephen City. He's an author of a book, From Dope Fiend to Son of a King, and he's finding his way through the gate, but he's about to give you all a powerful message, I'm sure. So let's give a hand to Pastor Breon Johnson.
We can pass the torch, baby. We can pass the torch. I'm confident that our young generation gonna push this movement forward. Amen? Amen? Let's give it up for our young generation. Our young generation. Our young soldiers. Our young troopers. Our young fighters. Let's give it for our young generation. Young generation! I am Breon Johnson. I'm the pastor of Grace and Mercy Ministries. I know she said that. I was just in Winchester speaking, and I kind of told them a thing or two, but I want to tell y'all, share with y'all, that I really don't want to be here. You know, because I feel that we have marched for 50 plus years, like Cammie said, and we didn't get it done. We have protested, but yet we find ourselves back in the same spot. On Thursday, you know, I just laid in bed and cried. I cried because I'm tired. I'm tired. But I know that I must go on. We must go on. We must go on. Before I came out here, I had to ask myself this question. If the same thing was happening to my white brothers and sisters, would I show up? And so you really have to examine your own heart. And so I thank all my white brothers and sisters that came out. Let's give our white brothers and sisters. We love y'all. We can't do it without y'all. We need you guys. We need you guys. And so I just want to let you know I will show up for you. 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 And so, the move on will bring us here today is on May 25th in the streets of Minneapolis, Minnesota. George Floyd was violently suffocated and killed by a white officer. The officer pressed his knee against George's neck while he was laying face down in the pavement for a full 8 minutes and 46 seconds until he stopped. Breathe. I want to make an announcement here, and I got this from the Reverend Al Sharpton. My announcement is, we don't want no favors. All we want is for you to take your knee off our necks. Experts, they pointed out that it was a combination of the knee restraint and the lying down position on his stomach too long that's most likely cut off his oxygen. I read current reports and it's beginning to talk about he had a heart attack, he tested positive for COVID-19. They said drugs was in his system, but I want you to know none of those things matter. None of those things matter. His knee shouldn't have been on Mr. Floyd's neck. Similar to Ahmaud Arbery, the video of George's murder surfaced on the internet, circulating social media, which warranted both local and national protested in Minneapolis and beyond. In February, Ahmaud Arbery was hunted down and murdered, jogging while black, by a white father and son in Georgia. In March, the 26-year-old Breonna Taylor, which is her birthday. Happy birthday, baby! Happy birthday, baby! Happy birthday! Hey. And so she was with her boyfriend, Kenneth Morgan, and they were sound asleep in Louisville, Kentucky, in their apartment, and the police intruded in the middle of the night, citing a drug warrant for a person at a different address. Breonna was shot 8 times and died in her home. No arrests were made at the time of Ahmaud's murder or Breonna's murder. Had it not been for the videos that surfaced, right? And Mr. Ahmed and Mr. Floyd's cases, we might not even see no arrests at all.
Amen.
I'm tired, y'all.
Amen.
I'm tired. I'm tired. In my own personal experience, I experienced racism, not only at the hands of law enforcement, but employees, people driving by, people walking by, clutching their purses, and even in churches, they've been racist. I'm tired, y'all. My mental health has been impacted and from racism in negative ways. I have been repeatedly traumatized, right? My anxiety is through the roof. I'm hypervigilant. My PTSD is like no other. All as a result of generational trauma from the effects of racism, systemic oppression, race-related stress, persistent lack of safety, opportunity deficit, persistent economic and political and social disenfranchisement. I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. My father, as a young man, he served time for his country in Vietnam. And in Vietnam, he became a heroin addict because his young mind couldn't comprehend the things that he was seeing. And upon his return, he was left to fend for himself. He fought for a country that never showed him no love. Currently, my father is in a mental health ward right now in this state, struggling and fighting for his life, for a country, fighting for a country that never showed him any love. I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. I'm tired, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful because we got a young generation that's going to push this thing forward, that's going to turn the torch to freedom ring through the north and south and the east. Let freedom ring!
All right, you guys, thank you so much. And it's so important for you young people to remember to vote. And we have register tables outside. So if you haven't voted before, we can help you figure it out because you have way more power than you know. Our next speaker is Judith James from Coming to the Table. I met Judith probably about a year and a half or so. Actually, it's been about 2 or 3 years ago. But we often would attend Coming to the Table, and she does impressive work, and she will be here shortly to talk to you.
Good evening. I stand before you as the co-chair of Coming to the Table, an organization committed to being part of the problem-solving process. In Dr. Martin Luther King's dream speech, he said his desire was for the descendants of the enslaved and the descendants of the enslavers to one day come to the table of brotherhood and sisterhood. We are that dream coming to the table. It is that dream that brought coming to the table into existence. We represent descendants of people who enslaved others, and we represent people who are neither, but are simply deeply committed to healing the wounds of racism that comes from the U.S. history of slavery and still exists. We as an organization are blacks, we are whites, and any other race of people coming together to heal ourselves, to heal others, help others heal, and move on together. We have a theory in coming to the table that guides our work. That theory is hurt people hurt people. And pain that is not transformed is transferred. The Northern Shenandoah Valley chapter of Coming to the Table is about transforming the wounds of the perpetrator of racism and evil, transforming the wounds of the victims of the perpetrators of evil, and making sure that the wounds of both groups, the perpetrator and the victims, don't get transferred into our community. We are about healing. Coming to the table, vision. Our vision for the United States is to become a just and truthful society that acknowledges and seeks to heal from the racial wounds of the past, from slavery and the many forms of racism that it has spawned. Our mission, the mission of coming to the table, is to provide leadership, resources, and a supportive environment for all who wish to acknowledge and heal wounds from racism that is rooted in the United States history of slavery. What are our approaches? There are 4. They include uncovering history, making connections, working toward healing, and taking action. Today, we are making connections, and today, we are taking action. Amen. But the most important component of coming to the table rests in our values. The values include respect, tolerance, inclusion, honesty, truthfulness, transparency, compassion, mercy, forgiveness, forgiveness. Love, 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 love. Martin Luther King said we need the strength to love. Peace, nonviolence, transformation, and reconciliation. Coming to the table meets right here in Front Royal. All right? Because of the pandemic, we are, of course, meeting by Zoom. But we embrace everyone to be part of this problem-solving process based on the values of inclusion, which means everybody, respect, tolerance, honesty, truthfulness, transparency, compassion, patience, mercy, and forgiveness. Please contact us at www.comingtothetable.org, and it will provide the meeting dates that we convene. Thank you so much. And hopefully you will join us.
Thank you so much, Judith. I've been to the Coming to the Table events, and it is really an awesome time for everyone to be completely open and honest about how they're feeling, and it does build bridges. I love seeing all your beautiful faces, but I do want to remind you that COVID-19 is still out here, so be careful. Next up, we have Councilman May. I want to thank Councilman May for helping us get this beautiful state.
Supervisor.
Supervisor. Sorry, guys. I'm used to running around with this gadget, but anyway. Supervisor May, thank you so much for helping us get this facility for this awesome time.
Thank you very much. There have been some great speakers. I don't know how I can follow up with any of them. But in thinking about what's going on today, I realize that George Floyd is dead. There's nothing that we can do here today to change that. Nothing. What we can do is make his life and his death meaningful. We're gathered here for a variety of reasons. For many, it is to demonstrate and highlight the racial inequity that exists in our country. Some are here to pray for peace and for the wish that calm will prevail. Others simply hope that we will be the start of a process to heal our community and our country. I know there are many more and good, valid motivations for those who are here and those that could not be here. I look out among you and see diversity, a lot of diversity, young, old, and from all walks of life. We have come together for a common purpose, a purpose of community unity. I see in this community of leaders, religious leaders, our county sheriff, our Front Royal Police Chief, and the representatives of our elected bodies, showing their reverence with members of our community. Together, we are making a statement. Just by being here, we are a peaceful assembly at a respectful distance from each other, all united for a common cause. I see strength and determination among us. Not just for this day or this evening, I would like to see it continue going forward. I see the ability to unify our community, not just for this gathering, but to always remember that we must make a difference. We must. Each of us can do better by leading and becoming the example of unity and fighting for those whose voices aren't heard, and ensuring that every resident is treated with respect and the equality under the eyes of the law. We are all the same. We are people and citizens of this beautiful, beautiful county and town. While this is a sad occasion to gather, there is also a cause for celebration. We are here celebrating freedom of assembly and the constitutional right to free speech. We are freely and peacefully voicing our concerns here in Front Royal, Virginia, in Warren County, and in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and the United States of America. For that, we are grateful. If we could ask, I'd ask all of us to join hands, but please do it symbolically. COVID-19 is still here with us. We're stronger together when we're joined in a common purpose. Take that strength and use it to make your life and those around you a better place. It's the best way to give meaning to the memory of George Floyd. I leave you with one quote from Martin Luther King. We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. Thank you. Remember, we are stronger together.
Let's give Walt another hand. Thank you so much for all you did to get this thing off the ground. Next up, we have Councilman Latasha Thompson. This is my buddy, y'all all know, y'all see us toweling around, starting trouble, but here she goes.
Hello, everybody. I want to say thank you to the organizers. Like, y'all have really restored my faith in this younger generation. I was a little scared because of the mumble rappers, let me be honest. And I want to thank everyone who came out. Seeing so many different people, different races, everyone coming together and peacefully getting the point across, that is amazing. This is why I love my town. Everybody's like, are you here to your kid? Is it going to be safe? I'm like, I'm from Royal, we're fine. So Stevie told me to hurry up, so I'm going to attempt to do that. I remember the time I offended my grandmother. Her face turned red, I got a lecture, it was a whole thing. And I stood there in utter shock because I had no idea what I said that was so offensive and why she was so upset. I mean, I only asked her who she voted for. I mean, that's how big of a deal this was. So, anyways, the world's come a long way. We no longer shy away from conversations about politics. We will probably tell you who we voted for. We will also post it on Facebook for the entire world to see. The same for religion. We will tell you about our faith, which services we attend, the whole 9 yards. Again, proudly. Do you know what has still been mostly off limits? Questions concerning race. We don't want to talk to our friend about race things because we aren't sure if that's offensive. And if race comes up, someone will say, I don't see color. Let's be honest, we all see color. How else will we address today? It is okay to say, I don't use color as a way to judge me. I bet you know why, because it is uncomfortable. And as Americans, we love nothing more than comfort. We do not want to be uncomfortable, and we do not want to make other people uncomfortable. Well, let's get a little uncomfortable. This is not my first march. My first march was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. My cousin was shot by an officer while on his hands and knees. They thought his cell phone was a gun. Let's get a little more uncomfortable, shall we? Here's a post from my Facebook a few days ago. I said, today I had to have the talk with Kristen, and we're not talking birds and bees. My parents were lucky they didn't have to have this talk. I was like, he caught wind of the protest, so I explained what was going on. He said, this makes me angry that there are racists who are allowed to be officers. He understands that not all police officers are bad. Front Royal does a great job with community policing. He also has parents of his friends that work in law enforcement and loves to resource officer at his school. So a lot of positive interactions. We talked about George Floyd, and yes, you know what? I let my 9-year-old son watch that video. The first 2 seconds, he's like, oh my God, this is terrible. My mom bought Tristan 2 guns to play with yesterday, and she said, Tristan, only play with these inside your house. Tristan asked why he couldn't play outside. She calls, looked at me, I looked at her like, not today. And then she said, well, maybe your backyard, Tristan. Today I explained to him she was concerned someone might think it was a real gun. So we talked about Samir Rice, and I explained we never wanted to ruin his fun, just wanted to keep him safe. He said he gets it now. And yes, he watched the video of Samir, the 12-year-old that was playing with a toy gun at a park. The police pulled up, jumped out, and shot him immediately. We talked about nonviolent ways and ways to use our words in Colin Kaepernick. We talked about educating people and being a good human. He understood. So how do we affect change? How do we get to the heart of issues and come to understandings? We get uncomfortable. We pick up a book on the subject. We read. We ask our questions in the politest way possible. We give gentle answers when asked questions. Is it fun? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm sure you will grow a little each time you have one of these uncomfortable conversations. So tonight, I challenge each of you to get uncomfortable. At least once a week for the next couple of weeks, get uncomfortable. Read an author you don't normally read. Ask your Black friend a question. Ask your white friend a question. Ask your Hispanic friend a question. Ask anybody a question. I just ask that everybody, if someone's asking you something, that you understand that they're trying to be respectful and understand and provide a safe place where people can ask those questions so they can understand, so they have the opportunity to grow. So let's leave here tonight encouraged. So if you don't have someone, you don't have a Black friend you feel like you can ask me. I'll answer your questions as honestly as I know how. And let's leave here tonight. Just encouraged to get uncomfortable, get educated, grow, and affect the change that we all want.
Thank you, Latasha. I appreciate you so much. So I got us all a real little treat, a blast from my past. This gentleman was a youth leader when we were all coming up, and he just is an amazing, wonderful man, and he has always been a leader in the Black community in Front Royal. So without further ado, Mr. Kenneth Sunny.
Hello, everyone. I won't keep you long. Just want to let you know, I wasn't born here in Front Royal, but I was here every summer with my aunt until my senior year when I came here and I graduated in 1971. In the early 90s, as they would say, I was a youth advisor at Williams Chapel, CME Church. Loved working with the youth to engage them, teaching them God's Word, and show them that there are better ways in life beyond youth mountain. Together, we learn of God's grace, His goodness, as we travel beyond Virginia, going to expose them to new places and broaden their horizons, thoughts, and ideas. I'm so proud to see some of them here today and who are adults still working in God's grace and working with the community to make things change. And thanks for inviting me here. I, like most of you, have viewed the video of George Floyd, all 18 plus 47 seconds of it. I thought of my sons, and I was scared for them all over again. I'll get to that later. A lot of like you saw it, and like many of you, was heartbroken and angry because they saw the reality of the very identity they saw, like many of you saw, was heartbroken and angry because of the identity as Bryce being related to the officer. As George Floyd called, "I can't breathe," and called out to his mother one last time, and you could see the life leave his body. There are no words to express how tired we are of being terrorized by racism. Along with the pandemic, we have been forced to protect basic human rights in 2020. This is very difficult, yet an important moment. And although we as a race have come a long way, we still have a long way to go. These protests are necessary to bring attention to a cause. But only voting can change the system that created that cause. No justice, no peace, no justice, no peace. We can only pray that protests across this country and your involvement to help change and implement new policies on the local level as well as the state and federal levels take place. Take out your outrage to the polls. Don't sit home. If you are not a registered voter, as they say, there's someone out here now that can register you. Go now. Go to a city council meeting here and see what's going on. You can make a difference. We all have to play a part in working to get this resolved. No justice, no peace. It was once said, I have to make you uncomfortable, otherwise you would never move. That is what these protests are all about. All across the country and around the world. There's 50 states and 18 countries. It will make you move, make a difference, and change policy. Bring awareness and draw closer as one, united in the spirit as one. I have a short story I wanted to share with you. I have 5 sons, and that I have raised. And for each of those, I've had to stop and talk to them and give them what we call the talk. So they can, once they go out into the world, that they can go out into the world and if a cop stops them, they know what to do. Put your hands onto your steering wheel. Don't say anything. But that's what my father had to do with me, and my grandfather had to do with him. And I had to do for each one of my sons. Because I wanted them to come home safe. I wanted them to come home alive. So, it's not easy sometimes being a black father. We had moved away from here because of my job to Manassas. So after 3 months in a new location, I let one of my sons drive a new car to football practice. After football practice, he went with his friends and got some photo, and then he gave them a ride home. Within minutes of this taking place, a police officer parked in front of my house. He never entered his vehicle, but sat until my wife and other son were leaving our home. She alerted me that the officer was parked in front of the house. I asked them to be watchful of what's going on because we are new in this neighborhood. They paused, saw no concern, got in our vehicle, and proceeded to leave for the store. As she pulled off, the police officer sped off, making a U-turn in front of our house. Put his lights on, pulled my wife over. Stay with me now. I will get there. No justice, no peace. As I watched this unfold, all I heard is the sound of my heart in my head. For this moment has been rehearsed numerous times throughout my life. However, I'm praying that my wife is doing all that we discussed. Mercy, Lord. She stops, and before she can get the window down, the officer's tapping on it. He never asked for her driver's license, registration, or any form of ID. The question was, what are you doing standing on that porch? Her response, we were just watching me stand on the porch. The suspicions of my son driving a brand new car while black and dropping off his black teammates who were exiting from the back seat of the vehicle caused the white female who was walking her dog to call the police. The personalized license plate registered to our address, which stayed out, and now our family is targeted. My son was followed by the police all the way home and not one stop. No apology to this day. Unfortunately, yes, angry, yes. Did that make me bitter? No. Did it increase my awareness? Yes. My faith increase? You see. If a man can afford a car or a home, he should be able to drive that car or live wherever he chooses. A man's children are the future, and any child that he imparts wisdom into. Listen, don't let the officer that killed George Floyd define what you think about law enforcement in general. There are so many phenomenal officers out there who put their life on the line every day, and they do not deserve the hate. That's what the Floyd family wants. Utilize this time to educate yourselves of how to make a difference. Apply for a job as a police officer if you want. Run for county seat or city council. And don't let rejection stop you. Keep trying, keep applying, make a difference for the legacy you leave behind and for the cause which shows this nation the life being taken from George Floyd. Say his name. George Floyd. No justice, no peace. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful talk. This next gentleman that I am bringing up here, his family and he have done so much for our community. Mr. Gene Kilby's father is the gentleman that headed the last protest in Front Row, which actually has us in the history books as the last county in Virginia to desegregate schools. His father spearheaded that movement, and as such, he had to live through that movement. And so we are so very honored to have him here today to speak. Mr. Kilby, come on up.
Thank you. I'm truly honored to have been called upon to speak today. First, I'd like to give thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for allowing me to see just another day. As I look out over the crowd, I'm truly happy. Because when my father was doing this, it was only just a faithful few. But today, it really looks like a rainbow coalition, as Jesse Jackson had envisioned. And with all of these young, dynamic speakers, I know that we're going to keep hope alive. Let's say it together. Keep hope.
Keep hope
Alive.
alive.
Keep hope.
Keep hope
Alive. See, you know that I'm old school because a lot of young people don't know very much about Jesse Jackson, but he was one of the soldiers with Martin Luther King. As Stevie has indicated, I'm the youngest son of James W. and Catherine E. Gillespie. My father worked tirelessly for the improvement and quality of life of others, along with other groups of people, which was very few during that time frame. His dream was for his children to get a good education and have a better life than himself. As Stevie indicated, his legacy during the late 50s, along with other soldiers like Charlie Dean, Sam Fletcher, Charles Washington, Mr. and Mrs. Coleman, to name a few, a series of lawsuits were filed and brought the end to segregation in Warren County Public Schools. Front Royal has not always had a good history. As a matter of fact, it's had a dark history. After the lawsuit of 1954, Brown versus Topeka, Kansas Board of Education in the United States Supreme Court ruled segregated schools unconstitutional, Warren County formed a massive resistance. They said they didn't care what the law said. They didn't want to go to school with African American people. Didn't want to go to school with African American people. I ask you today, how do you expect for your citizens to be law-abiding when you yourself are not law-abiding? I'll give you this background to let you know that this journey has not just begun. It began a long time ago, in the 1950s and 1960s. Today we protest because of the brutal murder of George Floyd right before our very eyes in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was the saddest thing I've ever seen. As I watched his life slip away, I could not believe that another human being could treat someone like that. No matter how hard he begged for his life, it fell on deaf ears. And the smirk that the officer had on his face for those 8 minutes and 46 seconds just turned my stomach inside out. This type of behavior subjected on African Americans by police officers have been going on too long and occurring too often. Ahmaud Arbery was tracked down and killed by an ex-police officer, his son and neighbor in Glenn County, Georgia. Then they stood over his dying body and said, "You effing in." How cruel is that? They felt that this man was not a human being, but he was an animal that they could track down and kill and not face any consequences. These acts of violence arouse my memories, what I've been taught about slavery, what I've seen and witnessed myself on numerous times. We the American people around the world, we the American people and the people around the world are finally saying, no more. No more. No more. You have to forgive me, I'm 68 years old. I can't see that one of those little phones and stuff, so I have to put it on camera. In biblical terms today, we are saying the same thing that Moses and his brother was instructed by God to tell the Egyptian Pharaoh, let the Israelites go. God eventually had to show Pharaoh that he was God and the Israelites were set free. When will this country decide that justice is not something to be played with? Get your foot off our necks. Get your foot off our necks. Just as no place in the United States, there is no place in the United States for looting and burning. There is no place in the United States for racism, bigotry, police brutality, or a military state. Martin Luther once said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. This is evident by the protests all over the U.S. and around the world to this vicious murder of George Floyd. I'm not saying that all law enforcement officers are bad apples. But if you leave a few bad apples in the bunch for too long, it will surely spoil. We're asking to weed out those bad apples. Weed out those bad apples. We must learn as Americans, it's our duty to treat each other with love and respect. If we don't learn to love and respect, the same old problems will resurface over and over again. Young people, educate yourselves so you can understand thoroughly what you're protesting for. Understand your constitution, what your constitutional rights are. Register to vote for your voice so your voice can be heard. that it's a lot of people that died for this privilege. So don't let it be in vain. In closing, I'd like to tell you that the journey doesn't stop here at this protest. In order to affect change, it takes hard work and perseverance. Bear with me. I'm gonna get there. The journey will get tough at times, and you might think that you're all alone. Put your hand in God's hands, and He will see you through. In the words of Jesse Jackson, keep hope. Keep hope. Keep hope. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gene. Let's give Gene another round of applause. Next up, we have a young man that is so very impressive. I just am so impressed by him. I've known him for a while, but we started hanging tough about 3 days ago when we were putting this stuff together. And I mean, he just never ceases to amaze me. So without further ado, Samuel Porter.
Thank you, Stevie. Thank you. I really appreciate it. What's up, y'all? There you go. What's up, y'all? I'm honored to be here joining you. I'd like to take a quick second to thank the original organizers, because if you're a part of the Facebook group, you know that's not me, and we got to give credit where it's due. Justin Thorne, Brittany Johnson, and Corey Morris. Those are some people that you really should thank right now. So we're giving them a round of applause. But yeah, I'm from here, good old front row, okay? I see so many familiar faces, and I'm motivated by that. This turnout is impressive, but the cause is paramount. I'm always traveling, but when I come back here, I find myself looking back. I look back and remember when the library was on Virginia Avenue or close there, and now it's over there on Crossing Road. I look back and remember when I was a child, I used to go to Max Boulder Rink and have a good time with all my friends. I look back and remember there only was one high school here, and now there's two. I guess that's what y'all have going on. I think we all look back. We all tend to look back. We use photo albums to look back. We save news article clippings to look back. I think some of you parents out there even say things like report cards and your child's artwork so when they get older, they can look back. Just this last month, on the 25th, we seen George Floyd murdered at the hands of ex-policeman Chauvin. Seeing that created pain and anguish that gave the final blow to America's already delicate fabric. The murder and so far injustice that has surrounded George Floyd's homicide, unfortunately, resurrected many memories. We had to look back to 2015 and remember Sandra Bland, who was murdered while in police custody in the state of Texas. We had to look back into 2014 and remember Eric Gardner, who was murdered when he was put in a chokehold by New York City Police Department. We had to look back to 2014 and remember 12-year-old Tamir Rice playing with a toy gun in a park, but murdered by the police of Cleveland. We had to look back and remember Trayvon Martin of Florida, who was pursued by some fake vigilante and murdered. We had to look back in 2016 and remember Philando Castile, who was murdered at a traffic stop by Minnesota police. I'll say it again, we always look back. And those in the future, they're going to look back too. They're not only going to look back and see that these injustices still happen in the 21st century, yes, the year 2020, but they're going to look back to see who fought for a change. In the future, they'll look back and see what side the people of today were on. They'll look back and wonder, what did we do? They'll look back to see if we were complicit or were we vocal. They'll look back most definitely. They'll look back and wonder, which side were you on? Are you on the right side? That's my question for you, Farm Royal. I think if you're here today, you are on the right side. Give yourself a round of applause. When we leave and go back to our community just outside these gates, step up for your black and brown brothers and sisters from the courthouse to the schoolhouse. Step up for people who otherwise are silenced. Step up for people who face injustices because of the color of their skin. Step up. Silence is complicit. You have a choice. Andrew Keller, my high school principal, used to say, the choices we make today shape our world tomorrow. From Royal Virginia, I ask you, what choice are you going to make? It's time to be vocal about what's right and dispel all of which is wrong. And the only reason you ever hear the words Black Lives Matter is because they actually do matter. I finished my speech, but just a side note, this wasn't prepared. I'm really thankful. Just take a second, look beside you to the left, look beside you to your right. Y'all really turned out, and I think that we were a good example for not only Farm Royal, not only the Shenandoah Valley, not only the state of Virginia, but the country of the United States of America. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, and make sure we're always mindful to keep Justin, Corey, and Brittany lifted up because it was their vision. But for our boy, y'all brought it to life. Thank you. There's also food out there, some hot dogs, some chips, some drinks. Make sure y'all participate in that, partake in that, and God bless y'all.
All right, thank you, Sam. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. My pastor, Breon Johnson's gonna leave you guys with a prayer, and thank you all so much for coming out.
Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for what transpired and took place in this place, oh God. We thank you for every man, woman, boy, or girl, every color that showed up and showed out tonight, oh God. God, we know that we may have some trying days ahead, oh God, but we pray that you give us the power to press through, oh God. And for those that's been suffering from anxiety, PTSD, depression, because of the results of here, oh God, we pray that you lift that burden right now in the name of Jesus, oh God. God, no more depression, no more anxiety, no more worry, no more stress, and because we place this thing in your hands, oh God. And God, we thank you right now in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Everyone, please remember to pick up your trash quickly. Thank you so much.